sifted it. So basically everything gets counted, so we know how much of it we have, how many people were doing a specific activity, and then everything that is what we call indicative, meaning we know exactly where it comes from, or exactly what it is, then gets sent to the research lab for further research. So for example, can you tell me what this is? Mosaic, exactly. And we know that it's from the Second Temple period. So you guys know the material, or you found the material, you recognize what it is, and you're able to date it. You're officially archaeologists, because that's exactly what we do. But more than that, it's what does the mosaic tell us about the people that we're studying? Finding a mosaic is great and wonderful, but when we are able to find things like mosaics, or pieces of plaster, or fresco, we can actually understand the environment that people were living in. We can understand that they didn't want just a wall, they wanted something that was beautiful, that they could decorate. When we find things like pottery, pottery goes through stages kind of like fashion. So it's cheap and it breaks easily, and because it has different styles, we're able to date it very, very well. For example, with fashion, if you guys see a wedding picture, and the woman has like huge permed hair and like those crazy shoulder pads. When was that wedding? 1980s, exactly. None of you had to think twice about it. So that's the same way that I can tell you this is a Roman Yerushalmi bowl. And so the same way that we're able to date fashion, we're able to date pottery. And pottery can tell us things like, if we find a lot of cooking pots, for example, or this is from this is the base of a bowl, here's the handle of a storage jar, we can understand that it wasn't just about having something for today, it was about having something for tomorrow. It was about having something that you could trade. Sometimes we know that it was a tithe, for example. This is the base of what sort of looks like an amphora. And so these would either be on like with handles, and you would use a ladle to get everything from the bottom, or they would make like holes in the ground and they stick them in the holes to keep them cool, and so that all of the sediment from the wine or the oil would go to the bottom, and not be contaminating the rest of the liquid. That's what these types of vessels were used for. So we can really start to understand like food preservation. When we find things like bones, we can understand diet, we can understand animal domestication. Here's a really nice jawbone. Who found this? Yeah, nice job. And we know it's from somebody that ate plants because it's nice and flat, but it's pretty big. So I don't know if it's a cow, but it could definitely be like a sheep or a goat. We also have some really nice, what these are called are astrologus. They're the back heel bone of a sheep or a goat. And this one looks like it was definitely cooked or roasted. However, these particular bones were also used as game pieces, kind of like how we play jacks today, where depending on how it lands, you get a certain number of points. So these particular bones had dual purposes, but we can even understand things like entertainment. So we've got environment, we've got diet, we've got cooking, we've got this is one of those Roman shoe nails that I was talking about. We can understand warfare. We can understand clothing. We can understand that there were people who were artists. This is a really nice piece of glass. Ancient glass all has bubbles in it because it was made by hand, so it was always imperfect. Hand-blown glass today also have those little bubbles in them. But we can understand that people wanted to spend their money on something beautiful. We can understand vanity from 2,000 years ago. So that's just, here's a roof tile that we found earlier today, made of clay, so we can start to understand architecture. Here is a piece of a grinding stone where you put your wheat out and you could grind on top of it. And if we can understand all of that from a handful of artifacts found in a day, you can imagine what we can do with an entire excavation. Then it's not just one tiny area of this amphitheater, it's the entirety of the marketplace. It's also not just one time period. You can see how things change over time. How you have like the Jews, and then Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans, and then they became Christian, and they're known as the Byzantine. So those are some of the finds from today. I want to show you guys some of the special finds. Here is the bead that, yeah, you guys found? Nice job. This is an ancient bead. Here's another one that was found earlier. And you can see how people were like adorning themselves. This is actually a piece of a figurine. We haven't dated it yet. There's a question about whether or not it's from the First Temple period or from the Roman period. That will then go to the research lab for sure. But we can understand things like religion and idol worship. I want to show you guys the bulla. If anybody wants to see it close up, you're welcome to come up afterwards and take a picture if you want. But this is the bulla that we found. It's a tiny little seal impression. This is a very delicate piece of clay. And if you look closely, you can actually see the letters that were stamped onto it. So that's like the bulla of Ymer that's on all of our t-shirts. I also wanted to show you guys a playing die. Here is one of our playing dice. And you can kind of see, like the numbers on it. It really could be used today. I was rolling this one earlier and kept rolling sixes, so it's clearly not perfect. But anybody's welcome to look at this afterwards. You're welcome to come up. But it's interesting. You can really see all of the different aspects of what make people human. You can see the need for food, for shelter, for entertainment, for all sorts of things. And I want to show you finally the coins that we have. So who is our lucky person who found the coin today? Nice job. So this is the coin that you guys found. You can see it's covered in it is covered in just gunk, and this will be cleaned in a special lab, probably through the Weizmann Institute. And once it's cleaned, we'll be able to read it. Now, this is a special coin that you could actually read. It just happened to be up against something that didn't corrode, so you can actually read it without it having been cleaned. Now, coins a lot of times are used like propaganda, like, I'm your king and I want you to know I'm your king, so you're going to put my face on all of your money so you can't forget I'm your king. But this is a coin from the 4th year of the Jewish revolt against the Romans. So that's the year 70 CE, which is the same year that the temple was destroyed. So this is a Jewish minted coin. So what did the Jews want to tell each other? They wanted to remind each other that they were Jewish. So what symbol did they put on their coins? It's a lulav and an etrog, which are the symbol of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. And even today, people still use these palm fronds as part of like rituals. And it's really amazing how you can understand something like symbolism and religion and like meaning from something as small as a coin. Again, people are welcome to come up and take pictures afterwards, but that's really what we do in the research lab. So we want to say thank you guys so much for coming. You guys got through a lot of buckets. It was really impressive. So you can give yourselves a round of applause. So we have certificates for you. I'll give them to your guides and they'll hand them out on the buses. But they have a quote from Psalms that says, for your servants have cherished her stones and favored her dust. And that's exactly what you guys do today. Because it's not just you guys coming to help us. It's not just my heritage. It's your heritage also. And being able to actually get into the material and touch the things that you can only see in museums, we're really, really grateful to have been able to share that with you. So enjoy the rest of your various trips to Israel. Please don't forget to drink water. It is very hot outside. And enjoy the rest of your time here.